Hello everyone, this is Maffuman coming at you with the Starcraft Star Battle. We have a 6-on-6 shipbuilding action game starring Ghetto SC as an Arbiter, Hogan General as an Overlord, Yen as a Guardian, Cloud as a Colossus. We have a Night Raven who is also a Guardian, and hiding back there, Zaberdast is a Void Ray. Let's see, on the red side we got a War Machine as a Destroyer. We always call them Destroyers, even though they're called Dreadnoughts technically. Ike Dirk as a Leviathan. Inferno as a Carrier. Bradica as a Battle Cruiser. And a Lost Cause. Going for a opening with a Electromagnetic Storm as a Arbiter. Oops, and there's a guy hanging out back here. Come on, I think. Come on, where are you at? All right, we'll find him when we get there. We have too much access that we're going to miss up here if we don't see it. We got Inferno pushing out. He went for the kind of enough interceptors to farm, but also having a little bit of shield build. Most people go for 5 interceptors as an opener, if possible. But the idea is still solid. You want to get enough to one-shot farm, doing 18 damage with your 3 upgrades on the Interceptors is doing that enough. He gets feedbacked. It's always a good idea to feedback a carrier, even though right now the carrier isn't actually having any abilities. Let's see, Bradica pushing in. He started off with a kind of speed and farming build. He has enough. He only has 1 laser, but he upgraded the range a bit, and that's kind of helping. It is designed for farming, and if he's in battle with other capital ships, he's not really farming. But the idea is solid that he is doing some damage. He has the extra range. The extra range is helping. Zaberdast, you got to probably blink on out of there. Oh, he did. He blinked on out of there, kind of did a little Michael Jackson moonwalk. He can only attack going forward with his prismatic beam, so you kind of saw him blink backwards, shooting forwards, and moonwalking on out of there. He has to retreat though. He only has he's a Void Ray. He only has a little bit of shields, 6,000. It only has 5,000 health with 2 armor. So let's compare that to something like a battle cruiser with 5,000 and 8,000. So yeah, he has a little bit more shields. He's a Protoss ship. That makes sense. But he's down at least a 2,000 in some with hull damage, and the hull damage on the battle cruiser is 4 instead of 2. You see most of the time Protoss ships really go for the shields, not necessarily for the armor. Like Cloud, he's a shield tank. He has 9 because he upgraded his armor kind of properly. He actually didn't go for very much else. Yeah, just a little bit of speed and a little bit of what's it called? A little bit of shields. It makes sense. He's a Colossus. Oh, he's going for even more, which makes sense. The Arbiters can heal him, and as a shield tank, that's really what you want to go for. Let's see. Red side was able to push the blue side into their base. That makes sense. It makes sense in the sense that they have 1 Arbiter who is there for feedback. Let's see, and then they have another support, which is a Overlord, even though it's an Overseer. Yeah, we call him an Overlord. That's fine. With Plague. Now, usually Plague can kind of make up the differential in overall straightforward sustained damage by just bypassing a lot of shields. He may have gotten that a little bit afterwards, or maybe not used it so much right now. Maybe he was saving up for the 350 that he has. Maybe he wants to shoot it off a couple times in a row, like twice, and then a little bit of a delay and shoot it a 3rd time, which makes some sense. And the blue side was able to properly push the red side back. None of the red side were in mortal danger, but you know what? You have 1 life in this game, so you might as well, not die. Generally, if you can die or not die, you should generally choose the latter. Let's see. We got Cloud sitting there trying to farm. He upgraded his missiles and shields, so he's just sitting there. He's still doing the 2-shot. Generally, that's going to be about accurate. Most people, 1-shot farming is a relative luxury. Let's see. Can anybody on the blue side do it? Yep. We got a Needle Spines with the 1-shot farming at 7 range for a Guardian. That's relatively standard for Guardians. The other Guardian doesn't have it, but one-shot farming is kind of a luxury that happens in the very beginning, or if you're a carrier. And the reason why is because it's relatively easy in the beginning to upgrade your lasers 4 times. Let's see. While the team's pushing back. Nobody's going to be caught off guard. There's no crazy nukes or something like that's going to happen. So you upgrade your lasers 4 times, you get that one-shot farm. It lasts for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, whoop, these bad boys, the Phoenixes, and on the other side, the Vikings, they increase in health slowly over time at regular intervals, let's say every 10 minutes. So if you can get your farming up to 1 shot in the first 10 minutes, that's great. It's going to be then 2 shot for the rest of it. But most people, let's see, really, if they jump from 15 to 20, most people aren't going to be able to do 20 damage in 1 shot. So let's see, somebody like Yen, he has just the 1 upgrade. He's doing 10 damage. Right now we have 0 doing, for our Cloud Colossus, he just is shooting 8. So they are kind of at a position where they almost are guaranteed to, at best, be doing 2-shot farms. And look at that, it makes some sense. We got a Colossus going in, using that energy. He has to go back a little bit because he's being attacked, but he was using that energy to turn it into Thermal Lance. Thermal Lance is a fantastic Colossus ability. Some people are under the impression that it's the only Colossus ability because it's so good. Look at this. It goes for 100 energy, which is, a reasonable amount of energy. It's like a, fair amount of energy. You do 125 plus 1075 versus massive damage to all units in a target linear area perpendicular to the direction that the Colossus is facing. Basically, it just burns things in the line, and now that can be used against capital ships, or importantly against interceptors. Look at this, Inferno. He went for the 11 interceptors. He went for Plasma Barrage. Neato. He went for 11 interceptors. That costs a lot of money, but you know what? The interceptors. Let's see if we can find them. 62 plus 62 is not as much as 125. It's actually just barely not enough as 125, but it just burns them away. So all the work that the interceptors do in pushing back targets and all that, boom, burn them. So that's where Colossus almost usually do something like this. And they go for Thermal Lance, they go for the energy. He has 325 right now, but that's because he's only 10 minutes into the game. He'll probably get like 600. That's not unreasonable to see. It costs a lot of money to get to 600, but 600 is not an unreasonable thing to see for Colossus. Now, but he does throw into that trap. You go all of your money into Thermal Lance. You know what you didn't put your money into? Other things. Your shields aren't as great as they could be. Your missiles are almost always neglected. Your lasers are neglected. Oh, that was a relatively risky thing to do. The blue team was retreating, and the Overlord decided to warp out. Now, he did it while he was in the cloud, which is a little bit safer, but like if you get caught off guard, then you just stop and your warp is stopped and you're in trouble, and people are kind of retreating anyway, so they kind of assume that you'd be gone and you could just die. It didn't happen, but it could. Hogan General going around the side. Look at him, he has a Overlord. Oh, they're gonna go for a warp trick. They could. It's not impossible. It doesn't look like they're doing it just now, but you could warp if you try. The Overlord has Psy Blast, it has Plague, it has Siphon Energy. It's basically got the big 3, but as you can see in the chat, nobody on the blue side has warp. So he set up the party, he set up the pinatas, he set up Pin the Tail on the Donkey, but the only ass in there was his. That was a good joke. Anyway, but he's not actually doing anything. We got him just farming up. He went for Mutalisks. Overlords sometimes like to believe that they're carriers, and they go for Mutalisks. And the reason why is, I mean, he went for Energy Blast, little tickle beams as well. But We got Hogan General kind of almost getting a little bit out of position. Zaberdast getting blasted away. He has to warp away. He has to blink away, but he doesn't have blink because he got feedbacked. Will Zaberdast be able to use the rocks as protection? The blue side is coming in all together. Up, use those rocks. Ring around the rosy. Pocket full of feedback. Oh no, War Machine used his explosive charge. Will he be able to get back? He has 325. Oh, he burned down. Zaberdast was not be able to saved by the Dark Swarm. We got Cloud going in, doing his burning thing, but there just wasn't enough damage to take out the entire team. I mean, the entire red team, except for 2 of them, are pretty much in their yellow, nearly in the red. They have to all retreat, but they're relatively close to their base, and they were able to take out a Void Ray. Ooh. It's okay to have Noob Ray die. I'm not sure he was a Noob Ray, but he definitely did get caught off guard. As a Void Ray, I think what the issue is you get cocky. You say, hey, I'm usually fast, I can usually blink away. Well, you can only... Oh, man, that was... If that Side Blast was updated a little bit more, he would have taken out Eichdirk, the Leviathan. But he just wasn't quite there. He had like 300 health. Now, he did keep him in base longer. The base can only heal 2 people at a time. It does auto-default to whoever's the most hurt. And Inferno going for the Tempest upgrade. You can tell that they're the Inferno Tempest because they say Inferno if you hover your little mouse over them, as opposed to there aren't any on the field, but just House Tempests that the red side just auto spawns. Let's see. Everybody kind of going back. Blue side having to retreat. Numbers-wise, they're still comparable though, so it's not like even without one person, blue side is not necessarily down. Yen has went for Broodlords. Now Broodlords can be a little bit energy intensive, and also with an interceptors out, might not be the safest thing to do. Let's hover this over so y'all can read a little bit. Spawns a Broodlord and a Corruptor at once. Broodlords are heavy flying assault units that shoot broodlings at their targets from a distance. Corruptors are specialized anti-capital ships, deal extra damage against massives. Broodlords last 45 seconds, and Corruptors last 60 seconds. Essentially, you kind of do a little a siege guy and a little protector unit, but it just costs so much. Oh, we have a warp coming in with a Overlord, a Guardian, and an Arbiter, and the other guys coming in. Now, which one are they going to focus on? They really have to choose just one target. They can't go for everybody. Now, they have to kind of avoid the Void Rays, the Inferno's Tempest, and they're not really doing that, but okay, they're going to probably go for the one who can't be healed right now. Hogan General going with the Side Blast is updated. He gets feedback, he gets Side Blast. Eichdirk is getting attacked now. He can't get any shields, but they really can't do very much damage either. Cloud having to go in. Oh, there's a beautiful Side Blast, and he has a 1500 health. If he gets Thermal Lance, and he does, War Machine has to go back. He has to go back, everybody. Now, Night Raven, you're a little bit weirdly out of position, but I think you were just attacking the interceptors there. Kind of good job, sort of just taking out the interceptors and distracting them. We've moved it back from a 6 versus 5 to a 5 versus 5 with all of the red team retreating. Hogan General, you can upgrade your the amount of damage that your Side Blast does, and it does extra damage against biological. So going for the Leviathan was the exact right ship to do. Not only is it a little bit slow, but Side Blast does extra damage against it, and it can't be healed because it doesn't have any shields. So the Arbiter was just sitting there like, hey, I'll recharge your shields, but you ain't got none, so I'll recharge your 0 shields. Let's see. Oh, now this is where it gets good, though. So, Corruptors and Broodlords can be a little bit taken out by interceptors, but if you kind of mother them a little bit, if you have your little Guardian standing by, hovering over and protecting them with a Dark Swarm and lasers, they can sit back and do damage against stationary targets like the battle station. And look, it went from 10,000 shields and 10,000 life to 0 shields and 9,000 life. Now the we get down to 5269. The battle station will definitely recharge shields, and okay, they didn't take it out, but they definitely hurt it. Over time, the battle station will heal up a little bit. Whoa, double warp out again, a little bit. You know, it's a little bit of a risk, but they were far enough away. Nobody is going to get taken out just there. Let's see. Blue side going in. Bratica. I think just because there is an Arbiter and because there's a Colossus, going the lockdown is interesting. There's sort of a secondary war within each one of these star battles. It's called the Energy War. Let's say feedback for the Arbiter, lockdown for the battle cruiser. If there was a Raven there would be EMP. We have a there it is, a Overlord with Siphon Energy. Those are your ways of getting energy out. Okay, yes, we ignored Void Ray with Prismatic Beam, or what's it called? Purifier Beam. It's used so infrequently, I don't remember it very often, but it's there. But the main energy war is right there, because everything that is cool, all the fancy abilities, cost energy. Those Broodlords especially cost energy. Now, the battle cruiser, though, it can lock down things with energy, but only if they're mechanical. So you know what you can't do? Your Night Ravens, your Yens, you can't lock down them. So you kind of lock down the things that you can lock down, which is basically just it's just actually only just the Arbiter at this point. But that does relieve a little pressure for Lost Cause. He can feed back any of these targets. Whoa. Coming in hot, the Night Raven to nice little warp. You don't have to, be far away. The Night Raven comes in from the side. Oh, we have the Invincibility Shield, the $400 ability for Cloud. Cloud is going to keep on going. He's going to keep on pushing. He's going to try to take out the Arbiter, and he might. And I believe, yeah, he will. And right back in the back, we have Lost Cause and. Oh, I'm sorry, we have Hawaiian General using the Plague, trying to take out the other guys. Now, they might not be killed, but they certainly are going to get hurt. Inferno's going to be pushed back a little bit. Seeing that little burning. And here, yeah, like we were talking about in the very beginning, this Colossus went almost exclusively for energy and thermal lance. It's certainly great when you have the energy, and he certainly can support it pretty well. War Machine, oh yeah, I think it was kind of saved by that protective field. It reduces damages dealt by abilities down to 25%. So the Psyblast did 25% of math, 225 plus 250. I guess then minus 250 to mech. Anyway, it did 25% of 2550, which is still pretty nice. We got Scourge flying in and taking out the battle station. We have these Inferno Tempests kind of trying to push back, and they can do damage. It's sustained. They're in a good position. They have, you see this little ring of damage that they're doing. They're going to slowly kind of push up there with their 1.35 speed. There is a vortex. I'm not sure if we haven't seen one yet, but that can make a difference. Most definitely. OVB. Yen, you're also kind of weirdly out of position, but they can't really push you because look at this little lovely bunch of coconuts over here. The Broodlords and Corruptors pushing things back. Bratica having to use his shields and laser battery. Shields are kind of interesting on a Terran ship because you'd only get the extra health from them, but you don't necessarily get any armor. Like if you look at Protoss shields on the carrier, he upgraded his health a lot, and he also has extra 13 armor in those shields. But he has defensive shields, so essentially what he was thinking is, I'm going to have extra, I can throw up this, it will give me an extra 2750, and that doesn't matter if I have shields or not, so just staying alive, BG style, does help. He doesn't have Bios shields. He's just taking extra damage. Oh, he has to retreat. The battlecruiser can upgrade the Geico insurance policy and get a bunch of bio steel to heal up when he's not burning, and then he also has the ability to stop burning with I think it's called like fire suppression system. Really cute. It has a little like fire hydrant as its little icon, but it helps you stop burning. And if you had that, then that's a really good combination to use in addition to defensive shield. And you might need to do it at this point because these Broodlords are kind of crazy. They do 72 damage in their initial strike, and then the Broodlings that are spawned by the Broodlords do about a third of that. If I can try to click on them, I will, just to show you. Let's see. Come on, cuties. Let's shoot. Oh, there we go. Let's read it very quickly. 30. So 30 is you know, about, I guess, a third of 72. The battle station was taken out. They're kind of closing in because they're just doing so much sustained damage. The only people who can really survive these Broodlords and Broodling attacks is maybe the Destroyer. It has 20 armor, and we just saw that the Broodlings, the weaker part of the attack, are doing 30 damage. So you, at this point, gotta kind of all upgrade the base stats, health. They're all kind of staying inside their base. Now they could survive this. It's not impossible. Maybe a healthy vortex. Uh-oh, the Cloud coming in. He probably might use his invulnerability shield here. Oh, Bradica was taken out by Hogan General. Inferno trying to spawn the Tempests, but they are kind of surrounded here. And essentially, that kind of goes down to showing you how much the energy war is important. Mad Max has a nuke. There was a lockdown, but the lockdown doesn't affect about half of the team. The Overlords as well as the Guardians can't be locked down, so it unfortunately just couldn't quite take it out. They're being surrounded, they're being hugged to death. Their Anacondas do not want none, but unfortunately they're getting some. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was Maffuman. Press like, press subscribe. You're doing Star Battle all the time.